Hello, I'm Gable Collings, Practical Astrological Advisor at Within Reach Astrology, and today I'm going to be walking you through a practical astrological forecast for 2024. So I'm going to be focusing on the outer planets, which are Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, because they have more long-term influences. And I'll be telling you what we can expect from 2024 based on the signs those planets are going to be in. And then there will be a special surprise towards the end of the video. So, make sure you have some paper and a pen handy because you might want to take some notes. And let's dive right in with Saturn. Saturn has been in Pisces since last March, and it's going to stay there until 2025, next year. Saturn and Pisces aren't considered the best match, so this is more likely to manifest in a more negative way. One possible manifestation of Saturn and Pisces is we could see an increase in mental health problems on a global scale. But on the upside, there may be an increase in charity and selflessness and people willing to give to those in need. On a personal level, Saturn in Pisces presents an opportunity to balance the physical and material aspects of life with the spiritual and emotional. If you've already started on your personal development journey, which I assume you have if you found this video, you know that mindset work and connecting with your intuition is extremely important, but so is taking action and doing day-to-day household chores or paying your bills. And that's what Saturn in Pisces is encouraging you to focus on, finding a healthy balance between these two, because that's really going to get you where you want to be in life and help you feel more whole. Another way you, as an individual, can work with Saturn in Pisces is setting boundaries while still having the capacity to help others. It's also about finding balance again. So you want to be there for other people. That's such an important part of living a fulfilling life, being able to give to other people and help them. But so is setting boundaries and holding yourself accountable and keeping commitments that you make to yourself. And that's what Saturn in Pisces is encouraging you to do. So there might be challenges in these areas, but those are just opportunities for you to heal and learn and grow. Now we're moving on to Uranus. Uranus has been in Taurus since 2018, and it will be staying there until 2026. Uranus is the planet of the unexpected and major changes that seem to come out of nowhere. And Taurus, when we're talking about global astrology, represents economics and the stock market. So, in 2024, we can expect continued instability in the stock market and major economic changes like we've been seeing for the past few years. Taurus also has an influence on the Earth and weather patterns. So we could see more extreme and unpredictable weather patterns. Again, this is just a continuation of what we've been seeing since 2018. So extreme and unpredictable weather patterns, and Uranus and Taurus in particular is known for earthquakes. So that's something to keep an eye out for. And now let's talk about Neptune. Neptune will also be staying in the same sign it has been for a few years. Neptune has been in Pisces since 2011, and it will be staying there until 2026. Neptune and Pisces have very similar symbolism, so basically what this is going to look like is just a hyper-focus on Pisces energy. So this could look like spirituality and creativity becoming more popular and widespread on a global scale. It could look like making it easier to put your faith in a higher power and to see that we're all connected. And it could also look like an increase in illusions, deceptions, addiction, and escapism. Before we move on to Pluto, let's just talk about what these three planets indicate for 2024. We have Saturn in Pisces, Uranus in Taurus, and Neptune in Pisces. So that's some strong Pisces energy, creating this energy of illusions, creativity, and spirituality. But we also have some instability from Uranus in Taurus. So what I'm getting from this is fundamental instability, and spiritual growth on a global scale. So now let's move on to Pluto, and this is where things are going to get even more interesting. So, Pluto is the planet of death and rebirth. It symbolizes letting go of what no longer works to make space for something new and better. And since 2008, Pluto has been moving through Capricorn, creating fundamental changes to governments and institutions throughout the world, as well as exposing the secrets and scandals of politicians and corporate leaders. I also want to make a note that in 2021, the United States of America experienced its first Pluto return. So, the Pluto return represents a complete rebirth and cleansing, a purging of a country, which happens every 250 years or so. Uprisings, recessions, and general upheaval are very common during Pluto returns. For some perspective, the fall of Rome happened during its second Pluto return, and the French Revolution happened during one of France's Pluto returns. So that's not to say that America will be completely ruined after this Pluto return, but it does indicate that it's undergoing a major shift throughout the nation that's helping it become a better country to step into a new era. And because that Pluto return peaked in 2021, we're still feeling the effects of that Pluto return. The United States of America is still recovering from that major rebirth process. I've spoken a little bit about Pluto's time in Capricorn and about what that means for America. But now let's talk about Pluto in Aquarius. And if you've been keeping up with anything astrological online, you've probably heard about Pluto in Aquarius by now. But let me give you a fresh perspective on Pluto in Aquarius. From March to June of last year, 2023, Pluto was in Aquarius for the first time since the 1770s. So we got our first taste of what this new era is going to look like. So I mentioned that America is moving into a new era, but also globally we're entering a new era as Pluto changes signs. This is important because Pluto only changes signs about once every 20 years or so, and it always represents a major shift in the backdrop of the entire world and the global energy. It sets the stage for all the other astrological events. But I do want to note that while Pluto moving into Aquarius represents a major fundamental change, it's on a global scale, and it won't have as much of an influence on you personally as what you've probably heard elsewhere on the internet. I've heard a lot of people sharing that this Pluto shift can represent a new era for you personally, and I disagree, because Pluto moves so slowly. It works slowly over decades, and it's often in a way that you can't even notice at the time. So it may have a subtle impact on you as an individual, but what it's really going to be focusing on is those major global changes in society and governments. So let's talk a little bit more about what we can expect from Pluto in Aquarius. So this year, Pluto will still be moving back and forth between Aquarius and Capricorn, settling fully into Aquarius in November, where it's going to stay for several years. And I will have the exact dates for all of Pluto's positions in the description box of this video. With Pluto moving into Aquarius, this means that the United States of America will begin its rebuilding phase after the Pluto return. And on a global scale, in every country, we can expect to see minorities and outcasts getting more recognition, which is great, but the flip side of this is that Pluto in Aquarius can perpetuate woke culture and cancel culture. So I hear a lot of people saying that Pluto in Aquarius represents an increase in freedom of speech. But if you actually look at the astrological symbolism, that's unlikely. Aquarius is a fixed air sign. If you combine fixed with air, that means a restriction on communication. which could lead to an increase in censorship. We've already been seeing hints of this in the past couple of years as Pluto has been moving into Aquarius, and we can expect this to continue into the next few years. But on a more positive note, Pluto in Aquarius brings the power back to the people. When Pluto is in Capricorn, it brings power to major corporations and government leaders. But in Aquarius, it brings the power back to the people, especially minorities and small groups. And it promotes an even more widespread acceptance of New Age spirituality, which we've already been seeing over the last couple of decades, but with Pluto in Aquarius, that's going to kick up a notch. Now for the special surprise I promised at the end of this video. I don't usually include information about planetary retrogrades in yearly astrological forecasts like this, but I think this one is really important to know. Every year, there's a period where there are a significant number of planets in retrograde motion, and this is called retrograde season. This time is an invitation to focus on slowing down and prioritizing introspection and healing instead of achieving goals in the external world. It's important to take this natural invitation to care for and reconnect with yourself every year, to balance out the busyness of all of our everyday lives, and prevent burnout and overwhelm in the long run. Last year, between July and October, we had a particularly intense retrograde season. It seems like many people experienced profoundly challenging situations and emotions at that time that helped them heal on a deep level. I've spoken to a few of these people, and I also experienced this myself. The good news is that this year starts off with a very long, direct season, which is when there are no or very few planets in retrograde motion. This direct season started in January, and it will last until July, supporting you in moving forward in your life, achieving your external goals, and turning your dreams into realities. Last year gave you the opportunity to heal and change your mindset so that you can create and manifest from a more aligned place this year. And this year's retrograde period will be much more subtle, becoming most intense around October and in December. So, I just spoke to someone about direct season yesterday, and I came up with this really good analogy, which is that during retrograde season, when you try to get the ball rolling with a new project or with your tangible goals, when you try and get that ball rolling during retrograde season, it's like pushing a ball uphill. It's still possible, but it's going to take a lot more effort. And with this direct season, it's like pushing that ball downhill. So right now, around December, January, you're at the top of the hill. You've got your ball at the top of the hill. And if you just give it the slightest push, it's going to go tumbling down, hurtling towards a brighter future for you and whatever tangible external goals you want to achieve. And there you have it, a quick overview of the most important and influential astrological events of 2024. Let me know if you'd like to see me go more in depth with any of these events like Pluto in Aquarius or direct season, and I might make another video about them. And if you have any questions, share them in the comments down below. And remember that this is just a surface level astrological forecast for the year. I've only gone into the movements of the outer planets and a quick note on the planetary retrogrades. So, I share information about the events I've mentioned here and many more in my 2024 Planetary Guidebook, which is available on Amazon now for $20 USD. And it's a pretty small book, but it's packed full of value, and it will guide you through each month of 2024 so that you feel ready to make the most of each astrological event. You can check the description box below for the link to buy your copy today. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to let me know by giving it a like, and subscribe and click all notifications so that you'll be the first to know when I upload a new video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm wishing you an epic 2024.